Hey everyone,
Hey guys, and we are back. How's everybody doing?
doing
I'm
well.
doing,
All good.
I'm doing fantastic. I mean, being a part of this team, and I think we have already had an amazing session till now, and looking forward for another, I think, 18 hours. We're
All
almost
right,
halfway down.
everybody's awake.
Yes, I mean it's great to be a part of these kind of events, and I never ever heard it like the 24 hours event is going on, and I'm the part of it. Like I heard it very first time I attended it. That's a big
There,
event.
there you go. That's good.
Yeah, okay.
And how's going, Manpreet? Everybody good with the you in Philadelphia?
That's good. See behind me, seven people speaking all together. They're ending the session. About
Wow.
10 minutes, the sessions are going to end, and everybody's going to switch to the keynote speaker.
So what's that? So many machines open there.
Yeah, that's all the
Can you
laptops.
take us behind the scene? Can you move your camera or no?
Let me try it. Hold on.
There we go. Full screen.
All right. So what's going on there? You have a bunch of laptops there,
All right.
and
So all the tracks are running. All people are speaking in the back end. They're speaking
okay.
around the world. From Africa, Amsterdam, India, Malaysia, Singapore. Everything is live up here.
That's awesome.
Yep.
And then
Looks like
you have a big monitor there.
Right, and I'm monitoring them in the backend.
All
We
right.
have
All right.
producers, multiple producers who are making and helping this event go live. Thanks to them. Uh, I am just helping them out if they have any issues or things like that.
Hopefully you
looks
don't
like
lose power, huh?
Yeah, that's the thing. That's a amazing thing. If I lose it, Mike, I'm gonna come to your house in 40 minutes.
Sounds good. Sounds good. All right, guys. So how you guys? Let's start this. We have few minutes before Peter comes for the keynote. What is your? Let's talk about. Each of us should give at least one or two tips. How are you handling this COVID situation, and how are you keeping yourself motivated? Keeping yourself, exciting and not like down. And what do you do for just keep getting things going on? Start with you, Simon.
oh my goodness. I thought you were gonna say Simon would be the last.
Nope,
So
youngest first.
Oh, okay. So I think during this pandemic, for me, it has been really fortunate that I have got this opportunity to work with the CSharpCorner team, and my job role is more something that I really love it. I mean, I do live shows. I work with these virtual conferences and all. So this pandemic for me has come to me as a blessing in a disguise, where I can connect with people from across the globe. I do live shows. I connect with them. So one thing is this pandemic has brought that I'm more connected to people than ever before. So that is one thing that is keeping me excited, and I'm connecting with new people. So of course, that keeps me motivated. And second part, when it comes to me, is that I do miss doing some workout. So although I have my belly bulging out now, but sometime I would manage to go to terrace, or maybe just go out and take a walk, or maybe go on a cycling. That's how I do it. But I think, as I said in the beginning, I'm very fortunate for what I do on full time, because I'm more active than ever. So that's great for me.
All right, Manpreet, where are you?
He's gone. That looks like
All
someone is
right.
mining
So,
bitcoins,
what are
right?
you
With all
doing besides this conference to keep yourself, motivated?
Uh, the conferences and the speaking sessions, like nowadays there are so many virtual agent speaking is happening around the world. So that's one thing. I love running. I run almost every single day. I'll go for a run like 4 or 5 miles every day. That and the little bit workout at home. I think that's keeping me busy, and I'm trying to write a book. So that's a lot of effort. So probably
What book you writing?
I'm writing something on artificial intelligence. So that is something going on. It's gonna
You
take some
can
time.
you can do that. People don't have work now. Right now, people are
Right,
losing their jobs, and
right,
you cannot just bring AI in between.
AI is the future. we,
It is
were,
the future, but let's live in the present right now.
we are replacing humans now.
All right, we stay. Let's be better human.
Right. So
All right.
I think first of all, like Simon is saying, like my tummy is gonna come out. I think physical fitness is important. People can start working out. I started doing yoga. It's been 1 month now, and I never did. Like being an Indian, I never did yoga, and it's so worldwide famous. And now when I'm
Even
doing
I
it,
never did it.
like I'm super
We can do it
addicted to
now.
it now. Yeah, exactly. So I'm very addicted. Morning I'll just get up. I'll have to do it. It's like an addiction, and you feel so calm, relaxed for that period of 20-25 minutes, and then you know what happens the whole day and night. So I think that's something new I have started doing. Let's say.
All right, Bhaskar, what are you doing these days?
I mean, pretty much these both guys have already covered with him, but I'll tell you something different. So for me, is different.
Goodies.
Like,
Motivated by
yeah.
saying goodies.
So yes, I'm attending a lot of shows, lot of events, and I'm getting myself a lot of other time, like to um, attending and learning new things, like Manpreet was saying. And other than this, if you follow your timetable, if you set your timetable, nothing would be wrong, right? So if you wake up on the time, if you go to bed on the time, then everything is fine. And I don't go outside. So because of the art society has very strict rules and regulation not to go out, wear mask if you go, and that's it. I think pretty much good to go then.
Okay,
Well,
now
that's
we'll
great.
ask
That's
questions.
great. So yeah, I mean, we human are adaptable, right? We will adapt to the situations. It's just a matter of time. And hopefully everybody is just staying safe. People who are watching this conference, thank you so much for joining us from wherever you are. Let's get ready for our keynote. You wanna go ahead, Simon? Take it off from there.
Yeah, and I think let's introduce our next keynote speaker. His name is Peter Watt. Today we have a great keynote speaker for you. He's based in New York and one of the co-organizer of New York SharePoint Saturday. He's of course funny and a great storyteller, and he's going to give us some great insights on collaboration, coordination, and the future of Office 365. He is the founder of Soho Dragon, New York and Ahmedabad MS partner, has been one of the fastest growing private companies in the USA for the past 3 years. Uh, he is the author of 4 SharePoint books and a columnist for Forbes. And guess what? The Soho Dragon are also hiring. So let's cut to the chase and invite our next keynote speaker.
Light up.
Light up.
Light up.
Light up. Light up.
Light up.
Light up. Light up.
Light up.
Light up.
Light up. Light up.
Light up. Light up. And light up.
Light up. Light up.
Light up.
Light up.
Light up.
Hi, Peter. Welcome to the live show.
Thank you, Stephen. Thank you so much. What a great introduction and video. Very professionally done, actually. And well, you know, it's a great cause, and it's great to be the keynote for this COVID-19 Lightup Virtual Conference. So, as Stephen, so firstly, I just want to say thank you to Manesh, Bhaskar, and Manpreet for just putting on this great event, a real true global event. So just so before I kick off the keynote, in the private chat, does everyone just want to say the country they're beaming in from? Okay, so I'm in New York, just in the private chat on the right. Just want to
Yeah.
We will be. I think we're gonna be leaving you alone, Peter. Here, just wanted to welcome you to the show.
Okay.
And then take it from here, and this is all you from here.
All right. Okay.
All right. Thank you.
I will be there in the
Right.
back end to help you out if you need anything. But Mahesh, Manpreet, and Bhaskar will leave.
Right. I am sharing the screen, so you can see the
Yeah,
screen.
definitely. Yeah, definitely. I can see your screen, and I'm going to bring your screen.
Is the screen flashing a little bit?
Yeah, exactly, Peter.
I'm not sure what's going on. Let me stop that share.
Mm-hmm.
Try it again. Okay.
Okay,
That's-
wait. Yeah, it's perfect now. You want me to
Very
bring it to the screen? There we go.
Okay. Could everyone hear me before or not?
I can definitely hear you.
I know.
but
Did the attendees hear me?
yeah, attendees also hear you.
All right,
I
okay. So you can tell it's a live recording here. No rehearsal. Completely unscripted. I can see.
yeah, because we have your not the presenter view with you in the PowerPoint screen, so definitely it's not scripted.
Totally on that.
All right, so Peter, next 50, 55, 45 minutes is all yours,
I
and
look forward to it. I'll have an absolute blast on that.
have
All
a
right.
great time.
Thank you so much, Stephen. So I'm actually based in New York. I'm on 30 Broad, right next to the stock market. And from what I can see, New York City is completely empty. Everyone's either left the city or they're all working from home. So thank you for attending the event. Does everyone just want to put in the chat about what country they're coming in from? Okay, there's a private chat on the right. Okay. Don't all do it all at once. Okay, so while that's going on, I will then kick off then. Okay, so remember you can donate to UNICEF, which is part of the UN. Okay, got Denmark in, very nice. Okay, that's the Europe. Can anyone beat Denmark here? Okay. So these are the great sponsors. Soho Dragon is actually also a sponsor. I've got the United States. Are you East Coast or West Coast here, John? That's my question. Okay. And then you got the opportunity for speakers feedback and the events feedback as well. These were the QVR codes. Okay. So a little bit about myself. Okay. I could talk for days on this, but I'll keep it brief. Right. So I am the founder and the CTO of Soho Dragon. You know, I've done 4 SharePoint books written back from SharePoint 2010. I remember SharePoint 2003. Those are the good old days, but even before SharePoint Designer. Okay, it was a SharePoint portal and foundation. I co-organized the SharePoint Saturday in New York, and I also run a monthly meetup called Teams Tuesday. And that's actually happening next Tuesday, actually. That's probably my only plug I will be giving you on this. I'm very old school when it comes to IT projects. I like them on time and on budget. And my hobbies are yoga and vegetarian cooking. All right, so we've got East Coast, Philadelphia, Denmark coming in on this. Okay, so this is what I'm going to tell you, okay? I'm going to tell you about coordination, okay, and the future of Office 365. Okay, Everything I'm going to tell you about this keynote is on my LinkedIn profile. So feel free to connect with me or even follow me or follow me on Twitter. All the links, and if you have questions about any of the GitHub projects I'll be talking about, these are all actually on. I can give you the questions on my LinkedIn. Okay, so I'm going to be comparing collaboration and coordination and talking about the future of how this actually affects Office 365, right? And that is basically what the keynote is all about. And that's what I'm going to be explaining to you for the next 45 minutes. Okay, so when we talk about collaboration, let's just give me a few ideas. So in the chat window, come on, let's have a few things about what exactly is collaboration. Can everyone just throw a few words into the chat window? About what they think collaboration is. Mutual trust, vulnerability, shared values, interdependent, long-term. Very much what SharePoint is, working together. That's very true. But yes, collaboration is that longer term. SharePoint, document management, record management. That's all long-term activity. Now, when you talk about coordination, okay, similar, what exactly is coordination? So can everyone just throw in what exactly is coordination? Someone's asking, what exactly is collaboration to you? Now, for the Americans on this call, I will recommend to you, the Americans on this call, I recommend to you, basically, what I would say is there's a group called Run DMC, which had a big song in the 80s. Does everyone know what that song is? It was called Walk This Way. Okay, and Walk This Way basically was two groups, Run DMC and Aerosmith, and they were talking about basically sharing that group, Walk This Way, and that produced a global album called Walk This Way. Okay, that is a great example of collaboration. Okay, where basically you've got two groups, two teams coming together, long-term goals and milestones. Okay, I'm just want to make sure I'm sharing the right screen here, actually. So just bear with me a second. Okay, hang on one second. So I'm just going to stop my screen and let me share it again. Okay. I think that's the deal there. I think that's working on the share screen. Slightly little technical issue. So what exactly is coordination? Okay, coordination is mutual respect, secure, goals, independent, and short-term activity. So even though communication and collaboration, coordination, they're similar, there's somewhat differences in what's going on. So let's just compare and contrast. That collaboration, that mutual trust, teams coming together. Okay, it doesn't matter what what you say, I will trust you, or I'm giving you information, I will trust you. With that respect, with that coordination is, well, basically, I don't really care what you're doing, but I respect what you're doing. I don't necessarily need to know what you're doing. Vulnerability and secure, shared values, shared goals. Okay, so the end point will be different. Okay, with collaboration, quite often, basically, you're in different positions. Interdependent, independent, long-term, short goal. So coordination could even be like a team coming together on a short-term activity, get the result done, that's it, it moves on. Okay, so therefore, and there are pros and cons to both. Okay, so Soho Dragon, we have two offices, one in the US, one in India. We both collaborate together, we both coordinate together. There's different cultures, different values. We respect and we actually trust each other. Okay, they don't just cycle on a bike all the time on everything. Okay, so this is a video of a pit stop of a motor car racing, and this is a good example of collaboration. So you notice they're talking. Notice there's management. 1950s. People standing around waiting for things to happen.
The tires are changed to black. A drill man polishes the windshield as Holland moves away just 67 seconds after he stops.
Collaboration. End result. Look at this. This is the same process. This is coordination. Notice nobody's talking to each other. Everyone's standing in the same position. No management. So you notice, let's just take a compare and contrast here, okay? Notice they actually had automated tools here to help with the job. Everybody was standing around in their correct positions, okay? And there was actually more people, not less people on this project than in the previous video. This was the fastest pit stop in the world that was recorded, actually. Okay. So this, in fact, if you actually collaborated on this process, you would actually have more problems and actually more problems talking to each other and collaborating than you actually with coordination. No one talked to each other. There was no management. The teams were working together, okay, on that short-term goal. Very much in sync, yes. Right, I'm keeping getting these messages, wrong screen. So let me just try this one more time. Right, okay, this is take 3 now, okay? Like I said, it's a live show on this. Okay, so can somebody, if someone can just say they're seeing the right screen here on this. That would be great. Stephen, are we seeing the right screen?
You want me to help you out?
If you could, yes. Bit of tech support here. Level 1 tech support coming in here, Steve. Right, which screen are we seeing? Are we seeing the display screen or the other one?
Okay, here's what I want you to do, Peter, right? I want you to go ahead and start your presentation, right? Go ahead and start your presentation.
Okay, let's go for it.
And click on F5 and
yep.
Yeah. Now you're done with that?
Yep.
Okay, now come to the share screen. Click on application window. You have 3 options: your entire screen, your application window, and your Chrome tab.
Right, okay.
You need to select that says PowerPoint slideshow.
I got it. Very cool.
There you go.
Look at that. Look at that handsome young guy. Okay, very cool. So we just saw the video. Okay. So here I am. Why am I talking about coordination? All right. Okay. Because if you look at all the marketing material that goes on, okay, with Microsoft, it's all about collaboration. Okay. Collaboration with teams. Okay. Even the competition, collaboration. Collaboration. Okay. This is New York University, NYU. Okay, one of the best universities in North America, if not one of the most respected in the world. Okay, they talk about collaborate. They don't talk about coordinate. It's management science for the last 35 years has taught people we need to collaborate more. But here I'm talking about coordination. And the reality is, look at this. If we do a search on collaboration, over 10,000 hits are actually web pages are actually displayed. Okay. Why am I talking about coordination? It's because this is the future of how we're going to work. Okay, if you look at business dynamics, teams are going to get smaller. Okay, the clock is going to tick much faster and your output is going to increase. That's been the trend over the last 25 years, and it's actually going to get much quicker, particularly with tools which I'm going to be referring to, and what people are actually talking about as well in today's virtual conference. Okay. So the communication landscape at the moment is about collaboration, 90%, okay, of which 10% of it is coordination. The future is going to be the other way around. Okay, so there's one question somebody has said, if these tools can be used to reduce meeting time and improve productivity, I'm all ears. Excessive meetings, it sounds to me, John, you're a bit zoomed out perhaps. Okay, on that, but you're absolutely right. And if you looked at that video we saw of the racing car, okay, nobody was talking. Okay, everybody knew what they wanted to do. Everybody just did it, and that's it. Game over. They all moved on. Okay, and this is where coordination, okay, and is going to carry the day. It's because the speed and the velocity, okay, is getting so much. And in fact, you've actually hit the nail on the head. We can't cope with so many meetings, particularly with COVID. You know, it's absolutely bananas to be working 8 hours a day, okay, and then basically having 6 of those hours in meetings, and then you've let alone the emails and the IMs and the team chats and everything. That collaboration is all very well, but it's just too overwhelming. It needs to be automated. It's because the inputs that are coming in to how we do our work are just on the increase. Okay, so when is this actually going to happen? Okay, you can see we're a bit sort of like struggling now with the instant messaging and the emails and the texters. Okay, but this is when that throughput comes in. So this is where you have like informal communication or process to a formal, and then it has to become hyper structured. And a good example of this is like a help desk. Like a help desk, you normally start it off with emails, so a point person. And it's like, hang on a minute, this is absolutely crazy. Okay, let's have a proper help desk system, something like Zendesk or Freshdesk. Okay, then that's your formal process. But that's all very well. Then you might want to have some certain automations going on. So therefore, if we know an email is coming in from a certain company or certain person, it could be assigned to an automatic group. So that's a bit of automation. And also, you could have a situation where, wait a minute here, bit of intelligence here. This person raised a ticket 2 days ago on this thing. We didn't hear whether it was actually related. Therefore, why don't we then send an automatic response to say, was this actually related to your previous ticket actually solved or not? Now, when you come to that hyper-structured, this is kind of like where you're talking about bots as well, where where you're talking about the chatbots, where that chatbot is extracting information, making logical business decisions, and feeding you that information back. So that's that hyper-structured part we're talking about. Okay, and this goes on a bit more as well. But I also showed you a few slides of like a lot of marketing material about everyone's talking about collaboration. But if you look at some of these presentations that's going on, people are actually talking about coordination, automation, but they're not, so we say, mentioning it as much. They're more talking about the technology. This one, graph, API graph via connector, Power Automate, automation. The graph, okay, this is getting information from one system to another system. Automation, AI, artificial intelligence. Okay, the Azure bots, I just talked about chatbots. Okay, artificial intelligence, again, on this. Okay, how to create your personal assistant with a Microsoft bot framework. Everybody's talking about this automation, this coordination, because the throughput is coming so much faster these days. You need tools and technical functionality, or what people are speaking about right now, to basically be implemented in business to reduce those meetings and increase your productivity. Okay, so for that coordination to happen, you need these things to occur. You need adaptability. Okay, this is where basically it's accepted within an organization, particularly the users. So chatbots are becoming much more vogue. People are now are more comfortable with talking to chatbots on websites and on intranets than they were 2 or 3 years ago. Okay, scalability. Okay, this is important, is because it's all very well implementing it, but it needs to scale. One of the key things that technology does great in an organization is it allows you to streamline and scale. And these were words you didn't often hear in the same sentence, but that's what technology can do. When you can streamline and scale at the same time, okay, that's when you've really got a powerful organization and you've got an IT department that can serve the business. And it also needs to be self-manageable, something which you can set up and it can just basically run on its own, where that cost of ownership is much less, i.e. put it in the cloud. So basically you can actually have Microsoft actually take care of the hosting of the technology rather than IT, because it's 24 hours. And if it happens to go down on a Sunday night at 2 a.m, it will magically wake up and work at 2:30 in the morning. So you need these three things for adaptable, scalable, and manageable for coordination to work. And if you look at that video of the Formula One car, okay, everybody knew what they were supposed to be doing. Okay, the teamwork there, it was very adaptable. Okay, you could probably use the same team. Well, it's not so probably you could use the same team to have 5 motor cars coming in. Okay, and then you could just repeat a rinse and repeat process, coming in, so it's scalable. Self-manageable. Like I said, there was no management around. The team was just doing it automatically. Okay, that's a beauty, and that's a beauty about coordination. So these are the 3 things that you need to happen. Okay, so a couple of questions you may be wondering to yourself. Okay, what's this got to do with Office 365? It's actually got everything to do with Office 365, and you saw that with a previous slide with some of the speakers. Okay, if you look at this current tool set that people are using, I'm sure most people are aware of this. All of this goes into that Azure tenant, that Azure platform. And that is the future of your Office 365. So if you look at Microsoft AI, it comes in with these 8 features, which I'm going to talk about in a bit. Language learning, text analytics, computer vision, speech authentication, video indexer, AI router, machine teaching, facial recognition. These are actually components of the Microsoft AI. This is all on the Microsoft website as well. So and it's very much like, this is not just, so we say PowerPoint, this is happening and it's being implemented in companies. And people are talking about it on these sessions. AI, content and cognitive segments, compute with Azure functions, Power Apps, extract data from your business data, Power BI. So let's look at language learning and machine learning based on a service built in natural language. This is your chat box, your Internet of Things. So now you can have sensors all over the place, bots all over the place, gathering information, bringing this back to a cloud environment for decisions to be made and automation to be made. Text analytics, we've all seen this, but also this is where it gets quite interesting, where it's talking about where message has been spoken or typed as well. And I'll be talking about this in a little bit as well. Computer-rich vision, this is understanding images. Okay, so you can imagine, like, okay, I'm looking for something on a search, with a Bing search word. Now you can do images. Okay, but also you can start seeing images in pictures, and there's recognition going on. This is I'm going to show you a short video, and this is Project Yomo. You only look once, and this is a scene from a James Bond movie, and people took the facial recognition and the object recognition, and they put this into this, and they managed to identify what was actually being displayed on the screen. This is a very good example of when you've got an extraordinary amount of information, okay, which humans just cannot process in a timely manner, okay, and where it can actually be obtained and actually put into, recognized, intelligently decided on. This is on GitHub as well, and this is an open source project. So that's a good example of some of the technologies that I mentioned about video indexing, facial object recognition. And this was actually on a movie. Imagine that was used for law enforcement and for prevention of accidents. Okay, that's the video indexer. Okay, so therefore, in terms of the video indexer, in terms of segmentation of what words are being said, facial recognitions of body language. Now, I could actually do this with politicians in America, but that could get a little bit too. I don't necessarily want to touch this, but at the end of the day, we're now in a world where everything which everybody says is being stored. So when a politician is saying something, it's very easy now for a journalist to find out if they said something contrary to this 20 years ago. So in politics, it's going to get very difficult to do your job, okay, because people change their opinions, depending on on the times. So you can see this is going to be very problematic for politicians. That if you've had a career for 40 years in politics, chances are you've changed your opinion a few times. Okay. Also, when you can imagine when you're being interviewed, and you start says, and the reporter says, so I just want to be clear, you're saying X, Y, and Z. And of course, the politician agrees on that. So, well, that's interesting. You said something different 3 weeks ago at this conference. Okay. So therefore, this information could be stored, referenced, okay, and actually be used in a very, very intelligent way. Okay. AI route planners, in terms of with everybody now with a GPS tracking, you can now see traffic patterns, what's going on, and you can actually avoid traffic. That's like nothing new, but that's that's definitely in the AI routes. And then you've got machine teaching, where the machine teach reinforced learning platform and key innovations, and that's building AI modes. And I'll be talking a little bit more about this as well. So I'm going to show you a short video of an accident. It's nothing too hairy. So just watch this accident. So let me just play that. That was the bit. That was it. Let me just play that again. Okay, so I played it. Did anybody notice there was a beep? Okay, so let me just play that video one more time. Hang on a minute. This is interesting. Did you notice the beep was before you saw the crash happen? Okay, so this is a good example of a bit of machine learning and predictability here. This is a Tesla car, and what it actually did was it had identified that the car in front of the car in front, the distance was much shorter. Therefore, it knew there was an accident going to happen. Therefore, it put the brakes on and it slowed down. Human beings can't do that. Okay, that's something which you really have to remember. Okay. So let's just talk about facial recognition. Okay, facial recognition is obviously when you're basically comparing pictures. Okay, so I actually did this a short video before from the Microsoft website of myself. Actually, I went no jokes in this one. So there you are. Okay, it's just done a facial recognition there. So there's a picture of me when I was 17 years old at a school when I was in London. Of course, Microsoft needs to spend millions of dollars to realize you've got a teenager who's not looking very happy. Okay, but that's sort of like where you're actually going. Can you imagine, though, this could be used in HR? Okay, when you're walking into buildings. Okay, but when we're back in walking into buildings, Okay, you measure HR by looking at people's facial recognitions. You could tell whether what the morale is in your company. You wouldn't need to do employee surveys. Now, I suppose you could actually start doing this with your with videos on your cameras on your computers, and when people actually log in, or perhaps during the day, or when you're on a Zoom, when you're on a Teams call, you can actually start to say, okay, how happy people are. Okay, this is where it can actually start going. I suppose, I suppose where you can actually like get your age, get your emotions as well. So this is one. This could be used as a good thing. Okay, but there was an interesting slide. Okay, let me just. Okay, there's an interesting slide here. Okay, I added in this last night. One of my favorite book authors is a guy called Malcolm Gladwell. And here's a top tip. Here's a quick question here for the audience. Name me one other book Malcolm Gladwell has written. And whoever puts it in there, I will give them a prize. Okay, and don't start looking on Amazon, please. Right, okay. So Malcolm Gladwell, right, going, gone. Okay, so Malcolm Gladwell is one of the probably more thought-provoking authors in America, if not the world. In fact, he actually invented basically certain book sections in Barnes and Noble. Yes, he did do Blink. He also did Tipping Point as well, and David and Goliath. Okay, so here's a book out called Talking to Strangers, and I thought there was a very interesting chapter in here, which I thought was interesting, but I thought it got a bit questionable, immoral about how facial recognition could do. Okay, so what they did a study was they did a study on anyone, and I've got no experience of bail or police or prisons or the court system. If anyone has any idea, if anyone has any thoughts on this, but basically, if you commit a crime, you go to bail, and then the judge will release you depending on whether your background, whether you committed other crimes. Or if you actually sort of a danger to the community. Okay, so what they did a study was, okay, they said that operating on the same information about an applicant, but without the personal appraisal of a human judge, computer decisions were 25% more accurate in predicting which applicants would not show up for trial or commit further crimes while on bail. So just think about that. Okay, you're in prison for a crime. Okay, or you've gone to go to court. That you haven't got a judge or a human actually potentially making a decision, but a computer. Okay, so does this mean that human hands should be removed from the process? Now, this is a horrifying thought, and it sort of like removes the entire human error and also the corrosive part of law and order, but there is an argument here to say, well, wait a minute here. If computers are more accurate at predicting crimes by looking at people's body language, their voice, okay, and their facial recognition, then the computer can start making decisions and be more accurate. Now, this is getting to the point of like making Minority Report with Mr. Tom Cruise, his world more reality. On that, but this is what they tried. So when you think about automation, we've seen this 50, 60 years ago in car plants. We've seen this with the computer revolution, in the 80s, the data processing, the internet revolution, and here are we going into this other wave, okay, of having this go right up the the food chain, not just in factories or offices, but perhaps the professions as well. But also, living in a world where potentially not a human being, I was looking at your record, is basically dictating your future, but also perhaps a computer. So this was actually a chapter in Malcolm Gladwell here, the book. So I thought that, and we were talking about artificial intelligence, and I thought this is where there's some great things, but this is where this could get a little bit shaky and a bit out of hand. Speech authentication. Okay, this is where basically you can tell by people's voice and about about their mood they're actually in as well, and they're shouting. If you're shouting, and so you imagine on in a call center, if you feel like there's a voice that's been escalated or becoming a little agitated, it gets pushed up to a line manager. Okay. So when we talk about the future of Office 365, I touched on a lot of this: artificial intelligence, virtual reality, blockchain. Didn't touch on that. Internet of Things, I mentioned that. Cloud, big data, bots. But these are all topics in the virtual conference for today. All in Office 365. So collaboration, you know, if the message is going to be, it's not going to carry today. It's got to be coordination. That's really because the speed, okay, and the accuracy and the demands is just getting so much now. So therefore, that's where you're really going to get that challenge, and that's where you're going to have to coordinate, where that artificial intelligence and a lot of those features in Azure and Office 365 are going to come into play. They're already coming into play. But when you think about SharePoint, people will say it's document management and collaboration. Okay, Office 365 is so much more about this. Someone just put something in the chat, says, I heard they did a test with healthcare and computers were really better at diagnosing than real doctors. That's, this is perhaps what it's doing. Now, there's a slight difference here that the computers is probably looking at a lot more data than doctors because it can diagnose it much quicker. Okay, but look, with the case which you had with the bail and the judge, like a judge is looking at somebody's background, well, the person's history, what school he went to, his face, how he dressed. All the computer is doing is listening to your voice and looking at your facial recognitions, and it was more accurate. So there's a slight difference. That's a good point, PKL, but there's a slight distinction here. So let's just talk about some references. Okay. The references are all on LinkedIn, and this is the last slide. So if you have any questions, I'm more than happy to open this up for questions and answer. So we have a few more minutes before I kind of like wrap this up. If you have any questions. So, Stephen, you mentioned about the AI and Modi. Yes, Modi is from Ahmedabad. I'm very aware of that, actually. I suppose you could say Trump's actually from New York as well. Okay. Drop your questions in. Yep, please do. So, John, Blink is actually is a good book. I don't know how many. I wouldn't say I'm a Malcolm Gladwell groupie, but I have read all of his books. They're very good.
Hi, Peter. I just dropped myself in.
No problem. No problem
Yeah.
indeed.
So I think that was a really amazing session that you put up, Peter. I loved the demos that you had, all from the vision, the speech, the voice. I think we have one question that you should surely take is, it says, how would you implement AI in project management?
Okay, so that's a good question. So, all right, so how would you enter AI in project management? So when you think about project management, is one of these management sciences which we've been organizations have been struggling with this for the last 50 years. And what I would say is about leadership and management and project management, nobody's got a clue on this. They really haven't. Like if you go into a bookstore and you go into, so we say, the science section, it's the same physics books for the last like 25 years. Physics and the principles have stayed the same. Okay, you go into project management, you go into the tech section or the leadership thing, okay, and you realize it's a new flavor of books every 6 months. Okay, 10 years ago it was all about Steve Jobs. Okay, now it's and Steve Jobs and Facebook, Mark Zuckerberg, now Elon Musk. Okay, it's all he's like the management guru at the moment. He's the guy who can get these projects as Teslas off the finish off the production line as quick as possible. Okay, so like where the AI project management, nothing is okay. I would say what makes a good, not to answer a question with a question. To me, there's 3 things that make good project management. What would you say they are, Stephen?
Sorry?
What would you say are the 3 good things that make a great project, which makes great project management?
I think first is to get the basics done. So I think to understand target audience, right?
Requirement gathering, great.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
The second one would be if I'm talking about tech, so maybe with the technologies that we're going to use, maybe that.
Yeah.
Third, maybe the execution.
Perfect.
Putting the best practices at the place so that in future, if we have to maybe scale up or maybe do something more to the cloud, so maybe that would help.
Okay,
I would say that.
True. That's true. So I would say pretty much what you said. I would say great requirements. Nothing beats great requirements. I always say get it right on paper first because code is expensive.
Mm-hmm.
Right. Okay. Managing the expectations of that there. Okay. This is what the goals. This is the timelines. This is what you're getting. This is what you're not getting. Okay. And then of course the execution you said. So when you talk about AI, I wouldn't really say this is AI, but you know how it is. You sort of like get to the end of the project and there's a few changes here. There's so much code coming out. Testing as well. So good. And then nothing annoys me when I'm basically the beta tester for the developer team. Okay, when I'm supposed to be the customer, right, on this. Nothing does my head in more. Okay, so if you can do automated testing, okay, and you speed it up, particularly when you get towards the end, we've missed a few deadlines. My patience is being tested. I'm getting really annoyed. My boss is on my back. Okay, everybody's under pressure. Everyone wants to cut corners. So therefore, if you could do some automation on some of this stuff, and if AI can do, this is, AI, this is the user journeys. This is how we can automate all of this. Okay. So instead of doing a round of testing that takes a day, if that can be done in 20 minutes, that's a great delivery. That's a great win on that. Okay. But also, like it said that most technical problems are not technical. Okay, in terms of requirement gathering, having an informal conversation, getting to know the person really well, understand what their pain points are, asking the right questions. At the moment, people are not comfortable with talking to a computer. It's like, I always think when we do a project, it's a bit like a doctor. You're coming in with your problem. I ask a couple of questions, a little bit casual on this whole thing. And in a roundabout way, I'll ask a few probing questions. Okay, and I know exactly what you want. I know when you want it and how. And that's a conversation. And I will ask those questions depending on how you respond. I will ask follow-up questions like, what do you mean by about that? Tell me more. Okay, how was your day? And I will listen for certain words. Like if you tell me, my God, it's like it's hell out there. What do you mean it's hell out there? Okay, and you will tell me a bit more. It's like unpeeling an onion. Okay, if I'll ask you, what are your 3 big problems on this project? And you'll tell me X, Y, and Z. And then I'll say, why are they your biggest problems? Okay, and then you tell me those why. So I know that what the problem is, and I know why they're interested. I'm getting to really know what's going on here, what your core challenge. And when we've done that, I can then sort of say, right, this is how we build the solution. At the moment, even in the movies, I've not seen this where the computer can really have conversations, like in short of not even in Star Wars with the characters in there. It's all a bit robotic. You need to have that human conversation of like, what's going on? How are you doing on this? And that's really what you need. So in terms of project management, I think there's a case in terms of automated testing. Perhaps I would say, I wouldn't say AI. Okay. I would probably say, definitely the automated testing. I'd probably try and use, should we say, not things, leverage things as much out of the box as possible. Like, if it's got a lot of workflow engines here, don't code it from scratch. Buy a workflow engine tool. No names mentioned here. Okay, that's the kind of thing here. In terms of, if someone wants a solution in the cloud, I'd probably recommend Azure. I would not recommend make your own cloud in a data center. That's just not going. That's just not going to cut it. So that's really what I basically say. On that kind of front. Now you could, what you could do in terms, this is not AI, but if you've got every Teams meeting that we have, we actually now record and it's referenced. So therefore, because we have this case, some of our, and I think this is a New York thing, that people have got short-term memory problems. Okay, people actually are saying, "I never said this." No. Hang on a minute. And so now it's all recorded. We tell people up front we are recording this. It's astonishing. It's not even funny. People's memory has come back so much. Okay, I never said this. I said, well, hang on a minute. I think you did. We have the recording. I can find it. Well, maybe I did actually. Well, let's move on this. Okay. On that.
That's very well explained, Peter. I think you explained it very well for the project management. I have one question with respect to the subject that for this virtual conference is that you said about different subjects where we can actually apply AI for the project management. One of them was testing, right? So here's what, when we bring AI, of course, the results are better. They're very fast, right? But they eventually replace the human. Point one. Right. Secondly, we're having this pandemic, and eventually people are using a lot of jobs these days, right? So AI is again taking their place. So what are your comments on that, on how people should keep themselves updated?
Well, yeah, when you look at sort of like when you look at what's going on in China, and they've got these testing apps like with WeChat. Okay, and immediately they've got somebody. Okay, let me rephrase it. That's a wrong word to use when somebody realizes they've got COVID. The WeChat network, they can actually find, okay, who have you been into contact with in the last 2 days, and you now get alerted. Okay, so this is sort of like raises some questions a little bit actually on facial recognition. Okay, which is a big issue in terms of I would say civil liberties, particularly in this country, particularly right now, okay, where you've got, people coming in and you're identifying, wait a minute here, this person, this person's got COVID, therefore, let me hit a network, okay, let me identify, who have you been in contact with in the last, we say, in the last 48 hours, or, okay, I've just recognized your face, you've got COVID, let me hit your Facebook page, and let me identify every photo you've uploaded in the last 48 hours. And with facial recognition, I know you've been with these people, and we can contact these people. So this is kind of like a health and safety. And maybe at the moment we're not quite comfortable with this. Remember, like 20 years ago, people would say, "Oh yeah, don't take a pic, don't put my picture up on the internet." Now everybody's doing it, kind of thing. And so maybe it's just a question of getting sort of like use for this. There was a Russian dating app. It was a Russian dating app, okay, that could identify your face, and it could then recognize. It could actually then do it could actually do a facial recognition in you into Facebook, and it can tell you everything about you. So you've got, so this is kind of like a little bit scary. You have a female sitting in a cafe, and someone comes up to you and say, "Oh, hello, Jennifer. Okay, I know you live in you live in Princeton, New Jersey. This is sort of like, why don't we go on a date? Don't tell me where you live. I know where you live. I'll pick you up tonight at 7. This is getting very scary here. So where does this say civil liberties actually stop, and where does it start?
Yeah, I mean, I think I will be very much not confident about that WeChat thing, but maybe the dating app you said may be helpful to some people.
Well, but this is, and like I said, it's a comfort factor. Until 20 years ago, people were like scared about, don't put those pictures on the internet because there's always an axe murderer looking on the internet who can find out where I live on that. And then we all got relaxed on this, and anyone who's going through any major airport in America, if not around the world, there's facial recognition going on everywhere. on this. So there is. I read one statistic that 50% of all American adults have actually had their faces scanned in the last 5 years. Okay, so that means they've gone through airports. On that. So, and they're not even aware of it. Like I personally don't actually have an issue with any of this. I can't question whether it's a good use of taxpayers' money, but that's another conversation.
Even I'm fine with the facial recognitions and even the voice, but maybe I'm not comfortable with my location. I mean, unless it is, I know my data is with whom, I'm fine. It shouldn't be shared with my connections or with my friends and family on where I'm visiting.
Well, yeah, but it's all a process like caller ID. People, when caller ID first came out, people were a bit, well, wait a minute here. I find that a bit creepy. I pick up the phone and the person says, "Oh, hello, Stephen." They know who I am before I spoke to them. Now,
exactly.
Now people can call me. I can tell you, I'm being told where you're calling from.
That's a very good example, Peter. Yeah, definitely. I think these applications everyone is using these days, and I think you get an unknown number, but you definitely know who is calling you, which location. So it really makes you as comfortable. So even if you go and use that application, you're fine giving away your details. So exactly as you said, like 20 years back, people were afraid to put their pictures and a picture on the internet. So very much relatable. Definitely, it was an amazing session. Before we just wrap it,
Sure.
Peter, I would surely like to ask you, how long did it take you to put that all presentation? Because it is a really amazing one.
It took me about probably about 2 days for stopping and starting on this. Yeah, okay. There's a little bit I've used before as well on other sessions.
Okay. So all right. So I think Manpreet, you're there. Okay, Manpreet times. You're there.
Hello. Thank you, Peter. You are making technology scary, I guess.
Well, I'm supposed to be motivating everyone here, aren't I?
They're getting scared. Like seriously, like I'm being monitored. It's like that.
But this is the whole. It's a bit like 25 years ago. Like if you were doing online dating, you were seen as a bit weird. Now I think I think it's a bit weird. I was actually at a dinner party a few years ago, and I asked, "Oh, where did you two meet?" And they go, "Oh, we met at work." And somebody said, "Oh, it must be so weird not meeting somebody online."
Right. That's so true now. And probably with the COVID and the pandemic, it's gonna be more now.
Well, yeah, it's almost a bit like companies now. Like I said, we're going to work remote. I'm not going to meet my co-workers. Like that 12 months ago, that might be seen as a bit weird.
Right.
These virtual conferences, but now it's become the new norm.
Yeah.
But I have a feeling though that there's human beings want to connect personally. They want to do that. It's just human nature. It's an identity. We're very tribal. We're very sociable creatures.
Right.
And I feel like there is definitely a need for that touch point, those face-to-face meetings, and like our relationship. It would be so much richer if we actually met in person, like university as well. When you think about university, going on, it'll be a totally different experience. If you think about your life, you've had different communities. You've had school friends, university friends, work friends, family. If that was all virtual, it would be very different. If your university friends, you only met them online, you only knew them online.
Right.
Yeah.
The depth wouldn't be there.
That's so true. Yeah.
Yeah, well, you both can meet, right? You both are very close to each other. You both can meet.
Well, we met. It was in December. We met at the Azure Bootcamp.
Right. Yeah. And the new one is coming up soon.
Pardon?
The new bootcamp is coming again.
That's correct. Yes. That is correct. Yeah.
Yeah. So thank you, Peter, for coming in. Thank you for your valuable time. And
Pleasure.
it's indeed a very good, and you were part of the cause for the UNICEF. And thank you so much for this.
Great cause, great, well organization. Thanks, guys.
Thank you.
Thank you, Peter. Once again, have a great day, and hope to see you soon virtually again.
Thank you, guys. Bye-bye.
Yeah, bye-bye.
Thanks, Stephen. Thanks, Manpreet.
Bye.
Yeah.
Bye.
So, Simon.
All right, Manpreet. So we are done with this second keynote. What's time at your place?
So time is 3 p.m. now.
Mine
18 more hours.
Mine is 12. Mine is 12:30. Tell me more.
Amazing. So you are gonna have a red eye very soon.
Yeah, exactly. I think, and you know what? I think I woke up around 6 in the morning today, and it's almost like 18 hours I've not slept, and I think 12 more hours to, or I think 18 more
For
hours
me,
to go.
I think for me the average is like 1.5, 2 hours from last 3 days, and
Yeah, I know. I know. I've been getting emails. My
oh,
goodness,
yeah,
one thing you have been, you're sending emails even when I'm sleeping, right? And when I'm awake, even I'm getting your emails.
so
So
I'm
you
rounding
have become a true global
yeah,
citizen now.
right, I'm round the clock. So I wanted to tell the people, so everyone here, the donations. Thank you. We are getting donations on the side. If I see on my screen, I think it's a little far. It's $3,290. We have received donations. Keep on coming, people. We need a good target. As I said before, we don't have to spend or like we're not asking for a lot. It's just $1, $1 in US, 1 rupee in India, a pound, which is a little more in like or Canada, like anywhere, anyhow. So like keep on coming in. And as I said, this money is not by us, not by any corporation. You are donating directly to UNICEF, and nobody's gonna be like using the money in the wrong way. It's gonna go to perfect hands. So please keep on coming, and we are gonna keep it back. Everyone, just go back to the site there and start connecting to Teams meeting. We are starting again, and the end node ends now. And the next one is I think after 4 hours, Simon. So probably you can grab some
Yeah,
sleep for
exactly.
4 hours and then see you back.
Yeah, exactly, exactly. So I think now the session that starts is let me go back. There's so many sessions happening, Manpreet. Now we have Joe, Jasmine, Shanta, Jose, Chris,
Correct.
and another Spanish track. It's an amazing virtual conference going on. I'll
Yeah.
see you in the next keynote. Till then, let's connect on Teams.
Yeah. Thank you, everyone. Bye bye. Hashtag light
Bye.
up.
Bye.
Bye.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, light up.
Bye.